Pistons Live is presented by Cure Auto Insurance. It's been a long time since the Brooklyn Nets tasted victory. Came in on a 10-game skid. They are in full rebuild mode. Nobody gave them much of a chance here tonight. And for much of the game, it didn't look like a matter of if they would lose, it was going to be by how many. But again, Pistons shorthanded tonight. Cade Cunningham in street clothes. He is day-to-day. Asar Thompson also unavailable tonight. And Brooklyn showed some fight. You know, one of the great lines that George Blaha always says that, hey, they got NBA players too.
Yep.
And Johnny and Grant with you to take you through Pistons Live Post. But look, in February when these two teams faced, Pistons set a franchise record, beat them by 53, right? But that's why you play this game. 5 weeks later, Brooklyn pulls off one of the biggest upsets, certainly of the season for the Pistons.
Yeah, I'm not going to say he was the total difference, but remember, Michael Porter Jr. did not play the last time the two teams met. He's healthy now. He's a contributor on this offense, on this Brooklyn Nets team. Let's face it, even with that being said, the Pistons had a great opportunity to win this ball game. Brooklyn Nets just had that no-quit attitude, and they played to the final buzzer and ended up with the victory.
Yeah, Porter Jr. finished with 30. That was a game high. So let's go to the end, and then we'll go back from there. But let's go back to front because the Pistons had two pretty good opportunities, pretty solid opportunities toward the end of the game. This is our Buick GMC Pro Vision. A couple of the key plays. This is the second to last offensive possession for the Pistons inside 30 seconds to play. Dennis Jenkins had a good look.
Dennis Jenkins, a starter in tonight's basketball game, so you have no problem with him creating an opportunity for himself. He gets to a shot that he can make. If you ask any coach in the league, they'll tell you, we want an opportunity to win the basketball game. Was that an opportunity? Absolutely it was. No, let's get another one.
Yeah, well, right here it was, yeah. Coming out of the timeout, Brooklyn has it with 7 and change left, and Clowney kicks it out of bounds, so the Pistons get another look at it.
Sometimes you get fortunate and a gift is handed to you. The Pistons get a second opportunity to do something special. Right pass, right person. That's who you want taking that three. Duncan Robinson. You ask Coach Bickerstaff, can we draw up a play to get our best shooter a look to win the game?
Yep.
And you get it to Duncan Robinson. That's an uncontested shot for him. It just didn't go down.
Yeah,
that's basketball.
That's basketball. That's it. And then the tip-in contested from Jalen Duren didn't drop. And you can see, stunned. Look, I said this the other day, the Pistons, you can win 75% of your games. That means you lose 1 out of every 4. Like, I'm no mathematician, but you know what I mean? So,
pretty good ratio.
But now they're on a, 3-game skid. And now it's like, well, doggone, this was one they felt like they should have had just because they had built up a 23-point lead. But in games like this, and I know it's easier said than done, like you played it, so and I'm not trying to sound, any sort of way here, but when you do have an opportunity to bury a team, put them away, wash your hands, and be done with it, I know it's easier said than done, but you get up 23, we always hear people say, well, don't let that other team hang around.
Yeah.
Don't let them hang around. They hung around, and it burned them.
But yeah, listen, it was a point where the Pistons went a 7-minute stretch, Johnny, I believe, without scoring a field goal. Believe me, I didn't think that was going to be enough to win the ball game when they went through that 7-minute stretch of not scoring. But you have to find a way to ratchet up your defense when your offense is sputtering that way. The two things the Pistons hang their hat on: activity on the offensive end, and it eluded them in that stretch where they could not make a basket. Tobias Harris got going early on, was a catalyst offensively to set the tone for the team to have success. But again, when they had that drought of offensive scoring, it was just too much to overcome. And the Brooklyn Nets had life. Let's face it, they got life after that. They got close, and they felt, hey, we're here. Let's win it. Yeah. We're here now. Let's try to do everything we can to win the ball game. When they put themselves in that position, all of a sudden the shots start to go down, the players start to make plays, rather.
Yeah, Zaire Williams, Day'Ron Sharpe, these guys came alive, and they outscored the Pistons in both the third and fourth quarter. Fourth quarter especially, again, they just started getting shots. To your point, it's a Pistons team that's played great defense all season long. I think it was Greg Popovich once said, right? Said, like, there's 8 games a year where you can't do anything wrong, and everything's just going to go your way.
Yep.
All right? And then there's going to be 8 games a year where you can't do anything right? And that's just going to be those nights. And then the team that you are is going to be made up from all the other games that go with it. I'm not saying the Pistons did everything wrong here tonight. It was just down the stretch. They weren't able to do enough right things, and Brooklyn did do everything right, and they got the win.
Yeah, and you know what, Johnny? This might sound whatever you want to call it. But I'm not surprised. And I say I'm not surprised because I've seen enough basketball, whether it's college, high school, or NBA, especially NBA. I've seen enough NBA basketball games to understand anything can happen.
Sure.
You know, teams go through a drought. It's not just one guy. An entire team will go through a scoring drought. Yeah, and you say you want to put the onus on your defense, but as George Blaha likes to say, these are NBA players on the other side of that too, and you're not going to stop NBA players from scoring the basketball. It's just not going to happen. It's too difficult. They're too good. They're too skilled. And that's the perfect storm for the Pistons to come up on the short end of this one right here. The Brooklyn Nets just got everything working in their favor, and it was, like you mentioned, that was 8 games where nothing goes right for you in that stretch of the Pistons. In that stretch.
All right, so first time this season, Pistons dropped 3 in a row. Let's send it inside. Hear from J.B. Bickerstaff at the podium.
JB, the Nets putting up 34 in that fourth quarter. What changed for your group in that stretch?
I mean, our level of respect for the game, period. The second half, we built a 20-point lead, and then we stopped respecting the game. You disrespect the game, you know, it's going to bite you in the ass, and that's what happened to us tonight. What was your message to your group just now? That, right? No matter what the night is, you know, you got to continue to do the things that make us successful. You know, we have to play to our identity every single night. And, you know, to give up 27, 34 points in the third and fourth quarter, that's not playing to our identity. You build a 20-point lead, and you continue to do what you've done. You know, you don't change the way you play because you have a lead now. And I think that's what happened to us tonight.
Yep, and just one more. Was there anything that they did schematically, or was it more what you saw from execution?
No, it was us. Execution? Yeah, we have to be better, and we have to commit ourselves to that. Thank you.
You know, people will say Asar Thompson didn't play, Cade Cunningham was out of the lineup. Sure. No excuse, and I'm not. Yeah, I am. I'm going to be hard on the guys tonight because there's still no real reason why the Pistons should have lost this game despite not having Cade or Asar Thompson in there, because we've seen these guys play well enough to win basketball games, and I'll say it, Johnny, against better teams than the Brooklyn Nets. So, yeah, this was going to sting a little bit for these guys who actually played the game tonight, and I think they're going to make amends for it in tomorrow's game against the Miami Heat. But you let one get away. Let's face it, the Pistons let one get away tonight, and they'll be better for it.
But I think the beauty of it is, again, the beauty of the NBA in this schedule is you get a chance to atone for it tomorrow, as quickly as tomorrow. Try to rinse this taste out of your mouth. And J.B. Bickerstaff does such a great job communicating with the guys on the daily. But he sent a communicated message right there. He said, we didn't respect the game in the second half. And obviously that'll resonate with the fellas. They'll get back to doing it, playing their brand of basketball. Let's make Michael Porter Jr. the Cure Auto player of the game. I was talking with JB before the game because we didn't see him in that last meeting against Brooklyn when Detroit throttled them by 53. And he said, I don't know if there's a player in the game that shoots more and makes more difficult shots than MPJ. And tonight, obviously, he was the catalyst for them.
He was, and it was a big difference maker in the ball game. But I'll say this, Johnny, and it might sound crazy. I thought the Pistons did a pretty good job on Michael Porter Jr., and here's why. The guy took 25 shots. That's a game high, 25 shots to get 30 points. To me, that's pretty good defense if it takes you 25 shot attempts to get 30 points. Sure. But it was an impactful 30 points. At the end of the day, he's a very marquee player in this league. He's proven that he can get buckets, and he showed that again tonight. They have been missing a consistent scorer, the Brooklyn Nets have. Insert him into the lineup, that problem is fixed immediately. Rebounded the ball, he assisted, made baskets, difficult baskets. There's one of them right there through the contact. Yeah. So he was everywhere they needed him to be, talking about Michael Porter Jr. tonight. And again.
Yeah, you see some of the defense that we put against him. To your point, they did, you know, he had to earn the 30. To your point, you're going to miss 15 shots and still end up with 30. You got to be hoisting a few, and they did try to make things difficult, tried to take him out of his rhythm. You know, and in basketball, man, it's like, you know, when you're watching, it's like when he banked in that 3. At the time, it was kind of like, you know, he has the grimace on his face like, ooh, you know, I can't believe I hit it. But guess what? They all count the same. And then you look up at the end of the game, and you're like, how big was that? Banked in 3, right? Yeah. I mean, in a game like this, every bucket mattered. You don't want to leave points at the free throw line. And when a guy's banking it in, sometimes it's just one of those nights.
It's one of those things, the manna from heaven, rather, for the Brooklyn Nets. And the other side of that one, the Pistons, the agony of defeat. But again, I heard what Coach Bickerstaff said, you know, you got to respect the game. You have to continue on the same path. They gave you success to get you the 20-point lead. You got to stay on that same path, and the Pistons deviated from that, and they paid the price.
All right, when we come back, we're going to hear from the guys inside the Pistons locker room as they describe what transpired tonight to let this one get away. And, of course, we'll look ahead to tomorrow night, the game in Miami. That'll be a pivotal game for this Pistons team that try to get back on the winning track. You're watching Pistons Live, presented by Cure Auto Insurance.